Ever pondered how a single cell can turn your body against itself? Today we're delving into the enigmatic world of cancer cells, a world that thrives in our bodies, often unbeknownst to us. These cells are not alien invaders, but our own cells that have lost their way. Imagine a bustling city with traffic rules, keeping everything in order. Now imagine if one car decides to ignore the rules, causing chaos. That's what happens when a normal cell transforms into a cancer cell. Why does this happen, you might ask? The answer lies in our genes. Sometimes due to various reasons, our genes undergo mutations. These mutations, like misprints in a blueprint, cause our cells to behave abnormally. They lose their ability to stop growing and dividing, essentially becoming immortal. This immortality might sound fascinating, but it's far from beneficial. An immortal cell keeps dividing, creating more and more rogue cells. And this unchecked multiplication is what leads to the formation of tumors. Just like a snowball rolling down a hill, gaining more snow and momentum, these cells continue to multiply, forming a mass that disrupts the normal functioning of our body. But here's the thing, not all tumors are harmful. Some are benign, meaning they don't spread to other parts of the body. But others, the malignant ones, they're the real troublemakers. They can invade nearby tissues and even break away to start colonies in distant locations, a process known as metastasis. Yet, it's not all doom and gloom. The more we understand about these misbehaving cells, the better we can fight them. We have made significant strides in understanding their birth, their multiplication, and most importantly, how to stop them. So join us as we unravel the mystery of these rogue cells, their multiplication, and the ways to halt their reign. Take this journey with us as we explore the intrigue of cancer cells, and together let's illuminate the path towards a cancer-free world. Understanding the multiplication of these cells is a cornerstone in the fight against cancer. So, how does a normal cell transform into a cancer cell? This is a question that has puzzled scientists for decades. The answer lies within the very DNA of the cell. Every cell in our body contains a blueprint of our genetic makeup, our DNA. This DNA guides the cell in its functions and behaviors. However, sometimes this guidebook gets a few errors, or mutations. These mutations can occur naturally as cells divide and copy their DNA, or they can be caused by external factors like radiation or chemicals. Now, not all mutations lead to cancer. Our bodies have a system of checks and balances to control cell growth and division. There are genes known as oncogenes that encourage cell growth. On the flip side, we have tumor suppressor genes that slow down cell division, fix DNA errors, and tell cells when to die, a process known as apoptosis. In a normal cell, these two types of genes work together to ensure that cells divide in a controlled manner. But when mutations occur in these genes, they can disrupt this balance. Imagine oncogenes as the gas pedal of a car. Mutations in these genes can keep the pedal stuck down, causing the cell to divide and grow uncontrollably. On the other hand, tumor suppressor genes act like the brakes. If mutations damage these genes, it's like losing the ability to brake, allowing unchecked cell growth. One of the most well-known tumor suppressor genes is called p53. This gene is known as the guardian of the genome because of its role in preventing cancer. When this gene is functioning properly, it can stop a cell in its tracks, repair the DNA, or cause the cell to self-destruct if the damage is too severe. But when p53 is mutated, it loses its ability to carry out these functions, leading to the potential birth of a cancer cell. When these genes don't function correctly, cells can start to multiply uncontrollably. And that, my friends, is how a normal cell can transform into a cancer cell. Now, how do these rogue cells multiply? This is a question that has intrigued scientists for years. Let's delve into it. Cancer cells, like all cells, multiply through a process known as cell division. But there's a twist. While normal cells follow a regulated pattern of growth, division, and death, cancer cells play by a different set of rules. They have an unruly, rapid pace of division, often ignoring signals to stop. This defiance to the normal cellular checks and balances is a hallmark of cancer cells. Think of it like a city's traffic system. Normal cells are like cars obeying traffic signals, stopping and starting when they're supposed to. Cancer cells, on the other hand, are like rogue drivers who ignore the traffic lights, causing chaos and eventually leading to crashes or, in biological terms, tumors. But how do these cells support such rapid growth and multiplication? The answer lies in a process called angiogenesis. In order for cells to grow and divide, they need nutrients and oxygen, which are delivered by blood vessels. Through angiogenesis, cancer cells can actually stimulate the formation of new blood vessels to ensure they get the resources they need. It's like building their own highways to ensure a constant supply of fuel. However, it's important to remember that not all cell divisions lead to cancer. It's the uncontrolled rapid multiplication, coupled with other genetic changes, that sets cancer cells apart. They're like a photocopier gone haywire, producing copies at a rate far exceeding what's needed and often with errors. This uncontrolled multiplication and growth is what leads to the formation of cancerous tumors. But don't lose heart. In the next scene, we'll be exploring how we can potentially stop this multiplication, giving us a fighting chance against this relentless disease. So stay tuned. Is there a way to halt this rampant multiplication, you might ask? Well, the answer is a resounding yes. Scientists and medical professionals have been hard at work for years, developing and refining strategies to stop the multiplication of cancer cells dead in their tracks. One of the most common methods is chemotherapy. This treatment uses powerful drugs designed to kill fast-growing cells, including cancer cells. By disrupting the process of cell division, chemotherapy aims to prevent cancer cells from multiplying and spreading throughout the body. It's a bit like throwing a wrench into the gears of a machine. Then we have radiation therapy. This approach uses high-energy particles or waves such as X-rays, gamma rays, or proton beams to destroy or damage cancer cells. The idea here is to break the DNA inside these cells, preventing them from dividing and growing. It's akin to cutting the strings of a puppet, leaving it unable to perform its dance of destruction. A third strategy is targeted therapy. This is a newer type of cancer treatment that uses drugs or other substances to precisely identify and attack cancer cells, often while doing little damage to normal cells. These therapies attack the inner workings of the cancer cells, the genetic mutations, proteins, or other factors that help them multiply and spread. This is more of a sniper approach, taking out the enemy with pinpoint precision. These treatments aim to stop the multiplication of cancer cells, but they're not without their drawbacks. Chemotherapy and radiation therapy can cause side effects like fatigue, nausea, and hair loss because they can also harm healthy cells. Targeted therapies, while often less harmful to normal cells, can still cause side effects and may not work for all types of cancer. But despite these challenges, these treatments remain our best defense against the spread of cancer. They're the knights in shining armor, battling the dragon of disease on the front lines. They may not be perfect, but they offer hope. Hope for a future where cancer is no longer a death sentence, but a condition we can manage or even cure. These treatments, while not without their side effects, are our best defense against the spread of cancer. So what have we learned about the multiplication of cancer cells? Well, we've embarked on a journey, a microscopic exploration into the complex and sometimes haunting world of cancer cells. We've seen how a normal cell in the course of its life can undergo a transformation, a twist of fate that leads it down a path to become a cancer cell. This transformation is not a single event, but a series of changes, a cascade of genetic mutations that ultimately culminate in a cell that no longer obeys the rules. It becomes a renegade, a rebel, an outlaw of the cellular world, multiplying without control or constraint. We've also delved into the process of multiplication, the way these cancer cells replicate and divide, expanding their numbers exponentially. We've seen how they exploit the body's own resources, stealing nutrients and energy, hijacking the very machinery of life to fuel their relentless growth. It's a sobering thought, isn't it? But it's also a call to action, because we've learned that we're not powerless in the face of this cellular insurgency. We've discussed strategies, methods, and approaches to halt the multiplication of cancer cells. From targeted therapies that interrupt the cell's replication machinery, to immune therapies that rally the body's own defenses, we've seen that there are ways to fight back, to turn the tide, and reclaim control. But the battle against cancer isn't just about treatments and therapies, it's also about prevention. It's about lifestyle choices, healthy habits, and regular screenings. It's about understanding our own bodies, recognizing the signs and symptoms, and seeking help when something doesn't feel right. In the end, knowledge is our most powerful weapon. Understanding how cancer cells multiply gives us insight into how we can fight back. This is not the end of our journey, but merely a waypoint, a stepping stone to greater understanding and more effective strategies in the fight against cancer. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more enlightening videos like this one.